everyone, welcome back to another episode of Orinda Talks. I'm your host Orinda, and today we're talking about Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a 1993 American science fiction action film directed by Steven Spielberg and produced by Kathleen Kennedy and Gerald R. Molen. It is the first installment of the Jurassic Park franchise and the first film in the Jurassic Park original trilogy. And is based on the 1990 novel of the same name by Michael Crichton and a screenplay written by Crichton and David Koop. The film is set on the fictional island of Isla Nublar, located off Central America's Pacific coast near Costa Rica. Their wealthy businessman John Hammond and a team of genetic scientists have created a wildlife park of de-extinct dinosaurs. When inextricable sabotage leads to a catastrophic shutdown of the park's power facilities and security precautions, a small group of visitors and Hammond's grandchildren struggle to survive and escape the perilous island. In the Tristio, John Hammond has created a theme park of clone dinosaurs, Jurassic Park, on tropical island Nubar. After a dinosaur handler is killed by a velociraptor, the park investors, represented by lawyer Donald Gennaro, demands a safety certification. Gennaro investigates mathematics physician Ian Malcolm, while Hammond invites paleontologist Alan Grant and paleobotanist Ali Sutter. Upon arrival, the group is shocked to see a live Brachiosaurus. At the park visitor center, the group learns that the cloning was accomplished by extracting dinosaur DNA from prehistoric mosquitoes preserved in an amber. DNA from frogs was used to fill the gap in the genome of the dinosaurs and to prevent breeding. All the dinosaurs were made female by directed chromosome manipulation. The group witnessed the hatching of a baby velociraptor and visit the raptor enclosure. During lunch, the group debates the ethics of cloning and the creation of the park. Malcolm was about to implication of genetic engineering and scoff at the park conceptionation, saying that it will be inevitable breakdown. Hammond's grandchildren, Lex and Tim Murphy, join for a tour of the park, while Hammond oversees from the control room. The tour does not go as planned, with most of the dinosaurs failing to appear at the group encountering, and sick Triceratops isn't cut short as a tropical storm approaches. Most of the park employees leave for the mainland on a boat, while the visitors return to their electric tour vehicles, except Sattler, who stays behind with the park veterinarian to study the Triceratops. Jurassic Park's disgruntled lead computer programmer, Dennis Nedlery, had been bribed by Dodgson, a man working for Hammond Corporation rival, to steal fertilized dinosaur embryos. Nedlery deactivated the park security system to gain access to the embryo storage room and stores the embryos inside the container disguised as a shaving cream and can. Nedlery sabotage also cuts powers to the toy vehicles, standing them just as they near to the park Tyrannosaurus Rex paddock. Most of the park electricity fences are also deactivated, allowing the Tyrannosaurus to escape and attack the group. After the Tyrannosaurus overturns a tour vehicle, it injures Malcolm and divorces Gennaro, while Grant, Lex, and Tim escape. On this way to deliver the embryos to the island dogs, Nedlery becomes lost in the rain, crashes his Jeep Wrangler and is killed by a Dilophosaurus. Settler helps a game warden, Robert Muldoon, search for the survivors. They only find an injured Malcolm just before the Tyrannosaurus returns and chase them away. Grant, Tim, and Lex take shelter in a treetop and encounters a Brachiosaurus. They later discover the broken shells of dinosaurs' eggs, and Grant concludes that the dinosaurs have been breeding, which occurs because of their frog DNA. Some West African frogs can change their sex in single-sex environment, allowing the dinosaurs to do that as well. Unable to decipher Nadre's code to reactivate the security system, Hammond and Chief Engineer Ray Arnold reboot the park system. The group shuts down the power grid and retreats to an emergency bunker, while Arnold heads to a maintenance shed to complete the rebooting process. When Arnold fails to return, Settler and Muldoon head to the shed. They discover the shutdown has deactivated the remaining fences and released the velociraptors. Muldoon distracts the raptors while Settler goes to turn the power back on, before being attacked by a raptor and discovering Arnold's severed arm. Meanwhile, Muldoon is caught off guard and killed by the other two raptors. Grant, Tim, and Lex reach the visitor center. Grant heads out to look for Settler, leaving Tim and Lex inside. Tim and Lex are pursued by the raptors in the kitchen, and of course we see that famous smell of the raptors. But they escape and join Grant and Settler, who have returned. The group reaches the control room and Lex uses Nerdy's computer to restore the park power, allowing them to call Hammond, who calls for help. As they try to escape by the front entrance, they are cornered by the raptors, but they escape when the Tyrannosaurus appears and kills the raptors. Hammond arrives in a jeep with Malcolm, and the group board a helicopter to leave the island. So to me, Jurassic Park is super nostalgic because in that time I was a young girl and I have a little brother that was really into the dinosaurs. So when those movies came out, we really bonded over this whole dinosaur thing. And of course, if you say Jurassic Park, you would say, oh, big adventure, very great action, but mostly involved with the Tyrannosaurus and the Velociraptor. And I remember that my little brother was very hooked on the Velociraptor, especially when that scene in the kitchen where they seems to smile. He loved that scene, and you know, in a way, it was, of course, as a child, you know, it is fake, but it would be so great if there was a dinosaur park like that. And I remember him being so in the dinosaur, it pulls me in too, and I really love some of the dinosaurs. And at that time there were a lot of series and movies about dinosaurs, but I think Jurassic Park is one of the famous one, and Steven Spielberg did a great job. And normally I always say, okay, only the first movie is the best and the rest will be bad or just equally good but not as good as the first. I always prefer the first, but I must say the second and the third movie of Jurassic Park is quite nice to watch as well, although of course it's still the same plot. Having a dinosaur facility and dinosaur park that is going down and everything is going wrong. And I must say I do love the main characters that are very well written, because they have all a job, and as viewer you know what the job is, and even they have to survive those wild animals and pre-animals, of course. It's still fascinating. And I think because it is about dinosaurs, then dinosaurs have always interested and be curious of people. It's the same with Egypt and how they mummified and how the pharaohs lived, etc. And the big buildings. So you also have that with dinosaurs. And my favorite one is the Triceratops. I really love that one. And Brachiosaurus is one of my favorite too. So I'm not of the dinosaurs who are being predators and hunt and are dangerous. And if we see, for example, to Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, that they try to train them, in one way it's very, yeah, of course it is dangerous, but it's like taming lions or tigers, because they live in the wild and they always have that hunting instinct, and you have that with, of course, dinosaurs as well. And but the fascinating thing is, why are people so fascinating and so interested in like the most dangerous dinosaurs, like the Tyrannosaurus or something else? And maybe that's part of the curiosity of people, but also maybe like the I don't want to say, maybe it's like the instinct of people as well, of human beings. Like we know how it is to survive difficult situations, especially when it comes to food. And although we got supermarkets all over the place, I do think living in nature and living off grid and just cooking in nature, it's coming back. Because people are tired of, I don't want to say easy food, but it's more like processed food. And, well, I'm right on that one too. I would love to cook more outside and live off grid. So, coming back to Jurassic Park, if we talk about the characters, let's start with the character of Dr. Alan Grant, who played by Sam Neill. I love Sam Neill, by the way, in most of his movies and films series he plays. So, especially Merlin. I love when he plays Merlin, but okay. Jurassic Park. It is very nice to see that a professor as him, or a doctor as him, knows so much about the subject, but also can keep it interesting for people that, well, aren't interesting in a way, but has just, okay, he would love to talk about it. And I think Sam Neill did a great job of portraying Dr. Alan Grant. The other thing is, the most and great thing is to see, and that's what I really liked about it, is that in the beginning of the movie, you see that he doesn't like children, hates children. And he really tried to scare them more often than be civil or soft with them with like, okay, let me just explain you. In the end of the first movie, you see that he's starting warming up to children. And you know, in one way I can understand Dr. John Hammond, but he got his grandchildren over to have a look at the park, how children will be. But he brought them into danger. And going back to Dr. John Hammond, I have no if you guys ever been to Elvia or to one of the other Comic Cons in the Netherlands, but there is someone who always played, cosplay Dr. John Hammond, and he looks so good. He is really exactly like him. He even got a cane with the amber mosquito in it. And I have to look if I can find that picture back again. But I know him well. Often I know him well. Yeah, I always talk with him when I see him over there. So, for the notice, I'm living in the UK now, but I'm gonna try to go every year back to Elvia, because Elvia is just insanely great. It's like a fantasy medieval event with even a Cessna camp from Outlander and whatever else more. I always loved it. So and there are even people who actually made those Tyrannosaurus Rexes and Velociraptors in like a robot run, like a mechanical one. And they always walk with that cosplayer who plays Dr. John Hammond. And that's really, really nice to see. I really, really love it always. And I know he cosplayed other things as well, but let me say, from the 100%, 95% he cosplayed Dr. John Hammond. But in the movie, I do think he has a very revolution thought and thinking about bringing those dinosaurs back. Although genetically ethic, I don't know if we really need to get started with it. We already, of course, started with cloning sheeps. And, well, in the movie is, of course, like, they have been cloned with some kind of a frog, and they are be able, because they only wanted to have females, so there can't be more breeding, and they keep the population in stand, that they only have female dinosaurs. But because of that frog DNA, they can change their DNA and change their appearance to male, so they can be breed. And, well, think about that, guys. If that really can be happening in nowadays, how would we people react on that? Does that mean that we don't have to get pregnant anymore? And that we will have like a clone of our own, like in, what's it called? Something with Ireland, with Ewan McGregor. Oh, I can't find it anymore. I don't know. I can't remember the movie anymore. But okay. Yeah, it's maybe a really weird thought about how people how to have a clone, and only that using for medical reasons or whatever, and then kill off the clone. that is really, yeah. So, but I do think Jurassic Park is for all ages in a way. And I think young people of today, it's so universal about talking about the dinosaur world, etc. And what I can't remember is how they exactly get those dinosaur DNA. Because they tell you it's from a mosquito in an amber stone, but you have to have more than only that DNA. And of course, we are known they are putting that together with the DNA of the frog, but still, it's weird to even clone or recreate dinosaurs like that. One of the fun thing that I love about Jurassic Park, even without thinking of reality, is still a great story. And I think a lot of people would have seen this to become a reality. But if we are looking back to the characters, so we got Dr. Alan Grant, we got Dr. John Hammond already. Although he has a great attention, Dr. John Hammond, I think he overlooked a lot of things. And one thing is the safety thing and who he is trusting in this great project. So then we also have, of course, Dr. Ellie Sattler. I love her. And not only because she is not a wimp and she just go for it, and if she has to, she will put Alan Grant at his number. But she is, instead of she being the carer and nurturer of the children, it was Alan who became that. And in one way, it's very nice to see that they changed it, and I think it's actually in the 90s, because it's a way of thinking different. And there are a lot of family movies, and well, this is a trilogy that most of the time it's all about the children in a family movie, but I think a lot of adults always will love Jurassic Park. And if we see storyline rise, of course it's a damn plot that is coming back, but it's a very nice. On its own, there are very nice stories, and like I said, full of adventures, full of dinosaurs, and also I think everyone can find something in Jurassic Park that they like. And although that, I think that was the museum of the park, that reminds me of A Night at the Museum. It's like almost the same setup, but also like the same vibe as well. And in one way, that is very nice. It's really what I really love about it is it's like also really kids related, and I think that's why Dr. John Hammond have to put his want to see how his grandchildren are reacting on it, and maybe it's a way. Of course, that he did everything to protect them, but trusting one of the outsiders who was working for him, who put all the security fences off, etc. What was really bummed, I guess, because He knew how dangerous those dinosaurs were and how important the safety of the people were. He did let them loose, and he could only think of dollar signs. And, in one way, it's very, very important to see also that, and it's a lesson for the kids as well. Be careful with who you trust, especially with a project like this. And, well, we also have the character of Dr. Ian Malcolm, who is playing by Jeff Goldblum. I must say, I think this is one of my favorite character. No, not the characters that he played, but he betraying the character, and the one he portray in Independence Day as well. But in the first couple of times when I saw those movies, I really was annoyed by Dr. E. Malcolm. But you could see later in the movie and in the other movies is that I started to like him because of what he knew and how, that was he played the same type of character in Independence Day. And the one thing I really like about it also is that he's cynical, he is sarcastic, but he knew what he was talking about. And I think that is what is very important in it all, if you have a park like this. What I was wondering too, those people, those scientists who are cloning those dinosaurs, what was it I can't believe it's a very fascinating job. But yeah, why would you do it? Why in this way? And so the first park was a flop, and they came back and it's all together, etc. And the great thing, I guess, and if you like it or not, every time Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. Alice Sadler and Ian Malcolm are coming back to the island, they always have that freaking adventure of surviving and encounter dinosaurs or whatever. If you had to choose of being one of those characters, or I'm just wondering, what would you do if you got a chance to have working on a project like this? Is this something you guys would like to do or are interested in? Because in one way, I would say, guys, leave the past behind and we can investigate that much in how we know them instead of breeding them again and leaving behind with all the consequences. I don't know if a park like that could be there nowadays. And that would be the same of something like recreating Nessie, the monster of Loch Ness. And that would be really weird. And, or for example, recreate or reclone Tutankhamun, for example. So, yeah, those thoughts are like, what would we do? What would we do with the history? Because I think if you are going to clone them and we had to live together with them, is that even possible? Because we changed Mother Earth that much that I can't believe that we can live together with them because of what we humankind have done. So give me your thoughts about that, guys, and it would be nice if you could tell me what you like about Jurassic Park. And I could say some more about the dinosaurs, etc., but I think I covered the main things. So yeah, let me know what you think about Jurassic Park, and if you had the chance, would you like to work on a project like this? Let me know. Dear listeners, thank you for listening, and join me in 2 weeks for a new episode of Orinda Talks. You can listen and subscribe to Orinda Talks on the YouTube channel or join the Facebook group. If you'd like to comment or talk with me about this episode, you can reach out on the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. The next episode is about A-Team. I also would like to tell you about my 2 other podcasts called Girls Talking Track and Orinda's Book Club Smooth Jazz, Tea and Books. Girls Talking Track. Together with my co-host Amanda, we recap every 2 weeks a Star Trek episode, starting with Star Trek TNG. All the episodes will be recapping chronically following. We will approach each episode with humor and a feminine look. Girls Talking Track is to listen, follow and subscribe on Anchor, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and all of the other podcast providers. We also have a YouTube channel and a Facebook group. Every 10th episode will be a video recording. Orinda's Book Club Smooth Jazz, Tea and Books is a podcast that will be discussing books of all genres. You can discuss this with me on the YouTube channel or the Facebook group. There will be book readings, events with live discussions. Of course, you can also give me recommendations what I can read. My perfect picture while reading a book is in the front of a fireplace, loads of tea, and smooth jazz in the background. Join, read, and discuss with me the books that we are reading. I will see you in 2 weeks.